So here's my sketchbook. I made this to motivate me to get through Plein Air Pool, which is a daily painting challenge where not only do you have to paint every day, but you have to go outside and paint in plein air. While this did motivate me to do it every day, probably only half of them were actually done outside. So it was sort of like a half a failure, half success. And my focus being foliage made it so much easier to find something to paint. I don't have to go out hunting for vast, open, beautiful landscapes or anything. And so the first week was very spotty. There are two things that I wish I could have done differently this month. And the first one is I wish I could have taken up more space. Sometimes there would be something to paint and I wouldn't be willing to sit on the ground in front of someone's window or something like that. But also sometimes I would be with my spouse, so I don't really want to take up his time with painting in public. So sometimes I would only have a little line drawing. And some days I would be in such a rush that I would be like, okay, here's a leaf. Then leave. I don't think there's anything especially wrong with that. These ones were at least done outside. So this is the paper that I was working with. This is an Opus watercolor paper. It's kind of local. And it's really hit and miss, because you'll notice with this one, the colors are super muted and not very contrasty. This leaf study was an interesting little breakthrough because I noticed this was a leaf that had white raised bits, so you could really see the vein. And I struggle a lot with foliage because I still sometimes do just to do a random shape of a leaf and then do the little seam, or this very basic vein pattern or whatever. And one thing that I noticed is that the veins actually connect at the bottom in little loops. Now they make a little bit more sense in my mind. It was just this tiny little detail that I didn't really notice before. And I did draw this one on the ground in front of the library where people kept walking by. It's a little embarrassing. Case in point, this is what happens when I don't know how the leaf veins are because I'm too far away from my subject, and so they end up looking just kind of like little green lumps. They don't look very leafy at all. And this one I sat in a path that no one was walking down, and that's something that I think is really important to the experience of plein air painting, and it's really hard to get, which is to get away from all traffic noise. To go somewhere where you can hear leaves moving, birds singing, is just so, important to the experience for me. The other thing that I wish I could have done differently was more study of other artists, examining them, maybe this person uses a masking fluid to cover up the little leaf shapes and then paint around it. In this one, Bridget sort of restrains herself when it comes to details. She's not outlining every leaf. And in this one, Brina just stuck with interesting textures, and you can tell that it's a landscape, even though not every plant is distinguished. And so my conclusion was to do less. And some days I would just sit in a coffee shop and draw something that I remember seeing from the bus. That's a fun challenge. One idea is recording shapes of little objects like twigs. I'm not so great at drawing branches, for example. If these pages look kind of weird, it's because I've completely forgot that I cut out and send sketches to my patrons on Patreon, and I didn't consider that. And so some of these are done on separate pieces of paper and stuck in for later, because I will probably mail this one to somebody. This one I did in a park while I was dropping off art at a nearby gallery. I want to say that it was really relaxing, but a public park is a really good way of finding a place to paint where somebody 3 trees down is listening to TikTok on their phone at incredibly loud volume, and I don't know why there's always people doing that. I also wanted to practice distinguishing different textures, different plants next to each other. I really liked going out with a small list of things that I know that I struggle with, because it helps me kind of pick places or things to photograph for later. And you might think that plein air painting is kind of boring, like landscapes and stuff. I used to think drawing from life was so boring. Maybe you want to do something really weird, you want to do fantasy art or some kind of sci-fi drawings, and I find that there's so much stuff in real life that is just kind of weird and out there, which is why I drew one of these, like, I don't know if that's an elephant ear plant, but they're super weird. This one was like, it's kind of like a very hungry caterpillar. I did a bunch of textures on paper, and then I used them to like cut it out and do a collage. I just wanted to have fun with landscape paintings. And it turned out really cute. I really like that one, actually. Oh, some cherry blossoms. All the pink. Everything is pink. This is definitely one of my favorites. Like, look at all this nice contrast in here. This is rushed as hell. If you go sort of late in the afternoon, get some nice long shadows. If you ever want inspiration for like sci-fi looking plants, Trillium is so cool. And this I thought was gonna be the most boring page ever when I drew this smoke bush branch so small. But as I filled it in, I actually kind of like it, and I didn't even need to, you know, fill in the background. I like the way that this turned out. I like this little pine tree twig. This is at the park in East Van. I'm still just kind of focusing on texture and not outlining things like I always do. And people were terrified to walk in front of me when I was painting, as if like they were going to ruin my picture somehow. It's kind of funny. I painted this upside down. So this one I'm trying kind of like a stippling effect, where I was just putting dots until it sort of made the shapes. And it was a little bit easier to paint around things so I can get the shape of these branches. This is like the best one of these trees I've ever painted, I think. I really like this one. And adding the branches afterward is like the best, most satisfying part. And I filled this space with like a little tree bark study. Gorgeous color. And landscape painting doesn't have to be boring either. You can still kind of do fun things. Like this is really cute way to dress up the tree. And this was like a really quick line drawing of a little tree on my balcony that I was doing while I was cooking dinner. And I got bored of it, so I just painted the background blue, and that filled out the page really nice. If in doubt, add paint to your background. And then some days I just drew a little flower and my cat screaming at me constantly. She kept moving, so this is just from my memory. Here's another one from that garden in Vancouver. I really loved the light and shadow, but it didn't really turn out that well in this paper. I can't get the colors dark enough. I don't know. This one I was just trying out a texture thing, so it sort of differentiates different types of plants by using different colors and different little patterns in it. You got the dead pine trees in the background. This was fun. So this one was done on the back of the paper, and this was done on the front. So it is definitely different experience depending on what side of the paper you're doing. I'm obsessed with the horsetails. Those are really cool, really otherworldly. And here's some bunny sketches because I decided I was going to do a bunny painting. So painting can be really boring, painting from life, but think of all the things that you can learn and remember and like collect in your visual library, so that when you want to paint something kind of interesting or different, you know what to include. You know, lately all of my paintings seem to include like blackberries, water lilies, mountains, because those are the things that I see every single day, and that's how we sort of develop our voice as a person. The things that interest us, it's all going to be different. And here's another one I'm sort of working on. So I was recently chosen to paint a commission for the Piccolo Gallery, and that's run by one person who is dedicating the project to her Nana, who love the arts, and she wants to create a little system where she hires artists every quarter to create art, and at the end of the year they're going to auction it, and it's supposed to create this nice little like rolling art gallery to make art more accessible to people who are struggling to make art a part of their life because of the social climate as it is. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, here's some freaking flowers. That's it. That's all. That's everything I painted in April. Oh, I was also making a little stack of zines because the zines are going to California. Long Beach, California, for the biggest little zine fair on May 31st. Go check it out because I would go if I could go. So enjoy it! And thanks for watching!